Many thanks for still staying with us on the decks on global television as we'll be taking a look at some issues in the nations and around the world. And don't forget that the agitations for affordable food items and calls for improved living standards has gotten to the attention of President Bola Tinubu when he was meeting with the governor yesterday. And he has asked that they release 100,000 metric tons of assorted food items from the strategic reserves and the stores of the Rice Millers Association of Nigeria. This, of course, this brief has been taken to us by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, who said that the president gave the directive during the special presidential emergency meeting. He also said that the president warned that those that are ordering food items will face the wrath of law. Of course, let's begin these issues. And joining me from Lagos, the Nation newspaper reporter, who is, of course, connecting to us virtually to join us on the conversations today. Hello, Abiodun. Hello, Abiodun. Good to have you on the show this afternoon.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me? Thank you for having me this evening for this wonderful show.
All right. Many thanks for connecting all the way from Lagos. All right, let's take a look at the food crisis. You understand, so far we've seen protests in Niger State, in Kano State, and you agree with me that you've also been recently to the markets. You understand that issues of the prices of food. 2 days ago, the court ordered that the president should actually, give a directive to fix all of these prices. You understand that the issues of food crisis is also worrisome in this country recently, even when we're having the midst of insecurity and all of this. And now that the president has ordered that food be released, is it that we have enough food in store that are not being released to the market? What is your stand on this?
Yes, food is one of the major items that many Nigerians hold on to. When we are satisfied with good food, we have the opportunity to do things rationally, to think, and to also carry out our daily activities. And so the food crisis, is one major area that's been taking the nation for days now, and many people are languishing and complaining about the prices of commodities in markets. So unfortunately, we have those who have inflated prices, we have those who have increased their market even at unjustifiable conditions. But it's quite disturbing that this trend is going on at a very high rate. And the cost of food that is rising is also because of the cost of petrol. Those who are transporting these food items from other parts of the countries are also faced with the higher rising price of petrol, crude oil. They also buy in transporting these commodities. So we have the food items, but the problem is how to transport these items also to various areas where they are being distributed. So I believe my stand on this is that because the government has intervened, we want to believe that those who are going to be distributing, those who are going to be making sure that the food gets to every part of the country will, try and see how to crash down the food prices so that common man can also afford, these items. Because if we look at the prices of markets right now, it's very disturbing. From rice to beans to tomatoes to yam, all of these basic food items that would satisfy humans or Nigerians are being on the high rise. And many Nigerians are complaining. So we have the food. We just need to ensure that there's adequate and equitable distribution of this food across the country.
All right, let's also take a look at some concern of Nigerians releasing food due to the current situation that we are. Would this be sustainable? How sustainable is this action and this move by the federal government? Mindful to the fact that insecurity has hindered a lot of farmers to go back to the farm, like in Benue State, report coming in that the Benue people can no longer actually go to the farm. You understand that the food basket of the nation and all of these other states, and this also affecting. Is this sustainable, the releasing of food from the federal government covers?
Yes, it's sustainable, but like you mentioned, insecurity has been an issue, and many farmers are faced with this crisis because they cannot go to their farms. They have been attacked by bandits or criminal headsmen, or they have been attacked by the known government and the likes. So all of these things are affecting the rate of production for these food items from the farms. So if the government is also able to tackle insecurity at that level, allowing farmers to be able to get to their farm and to also harvest their produce, then we were able to tackle the issues of distributing these commodities to various parts of the countries. So just from that basis, if you cannot address the foundational issues, the foundational problem, there will be crisis in other parts. So addressing the issue in terms of insecurity is one. Then also seeing how these commodities are distributed across the country is also another one. So it's sustainable. The
All
government has the security power, it has all of the economic power to ensure that this thing is workable.
right. I'm not alone in the studio. My colleague Anthony is joining us for these conversations as we take a look at some major situations in the country and around the world. Good to have you, Anthony, join us.
Well, it's a pleasure being on the desk.
All right.
All right, Alao, I think I have a question for you as
Yeah.
regards the government plan to release grains and all that. My question to you is,
Yeah.
are you impressed with the federal government that it took protests across the states before the government could react as to making this emergency plans to, release food, for Nigerians? So does it mean they had this ability or capability, but they just wanted Nigerians to react before they could feel the sufferings of Nigerians?
Yes, well, it's quite unfortunate it had to get to the point of protest before the government could act swiftly. That protest actually did send a message to the government that people are not happy, people are languishing, people are not, happy with the fact that there's food crisis. People cannot purchase the basic of commodities in the market. So it took that protest to be able to send signals to the government, even though many people thought it was politicized. Some were saying it was an opposition that was sponsored and all that. Beyond all of these things, Nigerians are not happy with the price of commodities in the market. If those who are taking a stroll to the market to see what is happening, they will find out that this is what is going on in the real sense. So that protest actually sent a message, and it is now good that the government was reactive, to see that okay, these people are protesting because of this and this. Let us quickly take action on it. So the government releasing tons of metrics of grains to, is a very good step, and that is because they've seen that there's an action from the people. There's a mass, protest that people are not happy with the state of things. So it's a good step, and the government has taken the blame to see how they can also swiftly act on it. So it's a good step.
But can we say that surely tells us that probably the government is not aware of what Nigerians go through? If we had to take a protest for them to understand the pains of Nigerians, does it mean that what the government keeps telling us, the presidency says, they're all lies because they truly do not know what we go through until protest before they truly can react instead of being proactive?
Well, well, I won't speak for the government because I don't speak for the government, and the government are the ones who are to react to that situation. But I will speak from the position of being a journalist and somebody who also gauge the feedback from the general public. It's quite unfortunate that the government had to it takes protest for the government to now quickly react. They are supposed to be closer. That's why we have the government at the federal, at the state, and at the local. So they are supposed to be closer to the masses in one way or the other to see what is happening. I'm sure many of them they live around us. They are not aliens. They see what is happening. They have housekeepers who also go to the market to see what is happening. They see the price of commodities. Maybe just some of them just choose to look away because they can afford it. The issue now is affordability and the availability of this food. So many believe they can afford, but the unavailability and the unaffordability for the common man is what has affected them, in making sure that they protest to let the government hear that this is what is happening. For instance, if we have issue of petrol scarcity, it's crystal clear. You will see queues in filling stations. So ordinarily, the government will be disturbed that, oh, you need to act on this. People are not happy that they can't purchase fuel or they can't get fuel at various stations across the country. So the protest is a message, and they have heard, and it is good that they have taken an action. So the government now need to now come and sit closely to begin to monitor what is happening, what are Nigerians not happy about, what are they not, okay with in
All
that
right.
in the long run.
All right. Due to the current also economic crisis, the Nigerian Labour Congress and the trade union yesterday gave a 14-year ultimatum to the federal government to fix up the situations. And of course, we are asking questions Of course, mindful to the fact that they had proposed a minimum wage due to the fact that, according to them, the current minimum wage is not in any way realistic, to the current economy reality. And even if some people, some quarters are now asking that even if the federal government have to pay 200,000 according to what they had earlier proposed, would this mitigate the situation that we are right now and curb, the protest by the masses? And how many people are working for government? What are the statistics of all the unemployment that we are having? Talk about the 14 days ultimatum given by the NLC to the federal government.
Yes, the Labour Congress have issued a ultimatum to the federal government, regards this minimum wage, and I believe the ultimatum is in the right direction. People are aware now that there's an ultimatum. The government is also aware. They cannot feign ignorance over this, and I believe they should also take step now on this to see how they can release, this minimum wage. This minimum wage is supposed to be living wage, what people can, take home and be happy about. If you look at the price of commodities like we have talked about now, it's all interwoven. People are complaining that the bag of rice, is much more than someone's minimum wage now. So it's very unfortunate that minimum wage at this amount in these current realities is not even sustainable. So what the Labour Congress has done is to send the message, give them an ultimatum, and see what they can do is actually the organized labor. So all other labour unions have come together to be on that tripartite minimum wage committee to let the government know that this is what they need to do, and they have made that very clear. So I think they said the government is saying that the new minimum wage should be ready by 1st of April. So we are all on the lookout to see what is going to happen. And we believe, or we want to believe, that the federal government will implement, the new minimum wage, because people are not happy, with the state of things. People are not getting enough. They don't have purchasing power to be able to buy all of these commodities or the basic things in the market again. One step now is the government to implement the minimum wage at the federal level, and that step is for the states also to implement, because some states are richer than the other. Some states cannot afford to pay even the current minimum wage. So let's not talk about the new one that will be implemented. So let's be on the lookout to see what they are doing. I don't want to preempt their action or their moves, but we want to be hopeful that something will be done in the right direction. So that's what everybody is on the lookout for now. So let's see if the labor union can champion the cause in this regards.
All right, let's look at what the court had ordered the federal government to do. The Federal High Court in Lagos saying it gave the federal government 7 days to put price control on food commodities and petroleum products. And now we're having Labour on one side giving the federal government ultimatum 14 days. For you, which of them comes first? Which of them will be more beneficial to the Nigerian public? Don't you think reduction of the fuel prices would naturally crash prices down and make it easier for federal government to implement the court order rather than go with Labour's minimum wage issue? Because no matter how much they give, if the prices are still high, it wouldn't make sense.
Yes, well, one outweighs the other, but with the current reality of things, they all go in pari passu with each other. So we just need to be mindful also. The court has given the order. We're also looking at the new minimum wage, because even if we get the new minimum wage and prices are still high, it's still, it's counterproductive. It's of no importance in the long run. So the government must also see how to pursue, how to, crash down food prices that will be affordable for many Nigerians, both, at the social status, whatever status they have. At least they're able to buy the basic things they need in house. Imagine people cannot even buy rice again in their house again because of the prices of bag of rice. You can't buy a derica, you can't buy beans, you can't buy yam again. So it's quite absurd. But if the government can push for that price reduction, they have the power. The government has the political will and economic will to do all of this things. So nothing stops them from implementing the new minimum wage and also ensuring that food prices crashes, because I believe that is what the government has promised Nigerians, which is the renewed hope. They promised the renewed hope to Nigerians. So if the hope should be renewed, then we expect that people should be able to do things and be happy about whatever they do. So government has the power to do all of these things equally and also get results for people, masses, to be happy. If the food prices are crashed down to a substantial amount that people can afford, yes, good. Minimum wage is also provided for Nigerians a substantial amount to that they can take home and also be happy to also save and do other things. It's also good too. So it's a win-win in all of this situation.
All right, let's take a look at what the World Banks are saying, that they are ready to support Nigeria. And historically, you understand the support of World Bank to Nigeria. Many times you ask the questions, where are the funds and the resources that many times we've heard World Bank giving aid to Nigeria. Mindful to the fact that we have a low trade and financial crisis issues, and of course, even into the current realities. Take a look at the support of the World Bank. Would this salvage the situations that we are, and are we trusting that government will judiciously manage the resources for the betterment of the country?
Yes, when it comes to World Bank and these world institutions, they are the one who are, coming to our rescue in times of need and in times of situations when they arise, to see how they can support us in this ramification. So, World Bank has stepped in. We are hopeful that whatever funds that will be given will be judiciously used, and we want to see how the government can also, actualize all of these funds that will be provided, or see what support. Support is what is necessary now. What support they are giving to us, we don't know. So we are just watchful, or we want to hope that this support we get to the masses, because if the masses do not feel the impact of the World Bank, then it's of no importance. So people want to see how all of this will impact the masses. That is what people are after. If you're able to impact the masses, then people are happy with the World Bank at large and whatever policies has been put in place.
All right, just to add a question to that, do you think the World Bank truly does whatever it does in terms of relating with Nigeria for Nigeria's benefit, or the World Bank sees Nigeria as a source of making more money in terms of repayment loans for all the loans they've given to Nigeria? If you remember, Serap did accuse the World Bank or threatened to sue the World Bank if the World Bank kept giving Nigerian state governors and the federal government loans without putting machinery in place to monitor the usage of these monies. Do you think it's deliberate that the World Bank is not so much interested in how the money is being spent, rather but engaging Nigeria to take more loans and more support, doing fully well that means more business for the World Bank for future generations to come?
Yeah, well, for the World Bank, whatever the World Bank is putting out, whatever loans they are giving us, there is an outlined mood, and there is an information. The World Bank will not just give us loan if there's no issue. If you recall, when we also had the issue of palliative distribution, the World Bank also promised to also give us loan to be able to distribute to Nigerians, to cushion the effect of, economic hardship and all of those things. So I believe that the World Bank would give us loan, providing loans, for a particular reason, not just any other reason. Now, whatever we are using that loan for is what is now our own business. World Bank will expect that we repay the debt, in a couple of maybe years or couple of months, when it comes to repayment of loans. But I believe the judicious reuse of that resources is now meant for Nigerians and its government, to use judiciously. They might not be bothered about how it is implemented, but they want to know, we have given you the loan. What is left is for government to also see how they judiciously use it for whatever project or whatever assignment or whatever activity they want to, put on. So people might be angry that they have not seen the impact. That's why I said people are angry that if these loans are not impactful on the masses, then it's of no use. So it's okay for people to be angry, for people to express their opinion on all of these loans, but we need to see the impact also. It's been felt on the masses too.
All right, let's head straight to the issues of insecurity in the country. The federal government says that I've actually engaged some troops in Ekiti. You are in the south west part of this country. Ekiti was a peaceful state. Surprisingly, we are finding these issues of insecurity in that state. Tell us more about the state of Ekiti, and of course, gives us an update on the banditry effects in that region of the country.
Yes, unfortunately, in the past couple of days, Ekiti has been an hotbed of crisis, and it's quite saddening that the state has is go through this situation. And at least I've been in Ekiti during the elections that happened last in the state. And coincidentally, I was in Emure Ekiti, where this incident also happened, where some students pupils were abducted, by gunmen. And also, we also heard about traditional rulers being killed. So it's quite saddening and tragic that Ekiti, that has a peaceful atmosphere, is under the ruins and of criminal activities. And what has happened so far is that the governor and the federal government at the federal level, rather, the government at federal level and the state governor has also stepped in to see how they can rescue the situation in terms of the criminal activities, kidnapping, and killings that's happening in the state. So it's very tragic. And what can happen now is for government or the state security apparatus to step in. We also have Amotekun, which is also operating in the southwest, where to see how they can man the forest, because Ekiti is, it has a forest, is a forest field area. Some areas where we have forest, which is quite a coven for so many activities. So the government have to see how to step in. The governor is the chief security of the state. Chief security of the state, he has to liaise more with security agencies and see how they can man all of these areas across the states. It's not just at the state capital alone. Many of these interlands in the state need to be secured and fortified, to see that there are no criminal activities going on. Where the traditional leaders were killed is is an area where they commute on a daily basis. We're going for security meeting and they got ambushed and they were killed. So it's quite very unfortunate, and we only hope that these incidents will not occur again. One, and also citizens in the state will also live up to that responsibility of seeing something and saying something. The police have stepped in to see how they can rescue the situation. We also have, like I said, their local hunters. We also have a Motekun who are also, ensuring surveillance of areas across the state. But it's not enough. Citizens must also be alive to their responsibilities of also, watching their environment and other strange activities. So it's very unfortunate that it is going through this unfortunate situation. Bear in mind, it also happened in Lagos too, where we had the PDP chairman of Lagos who was abducted while coming back from Lagos to Ibadan Expressway. So it shows that the Southwest is fast becoming, an haven of criminal activities, although not something that has been consistent, but we've seen the patterns so far, and state governments in all of these Southwest states must come together to collaborate, in terms of security issue.
All right. Doesn't this ask the question, where are the aircraft, the fighter jets that Nigeria has purchased over time, and why are we not having them, having area views of these various parts of the country? And also for state governments, the question as regards the use of their security votes, shouldn't they have the Nigerian Air Force, helicopters fly these different zones? And shouldn't the state government be able to support them to ensure that their states are also safe?
Yes, well, the fighter jets, over time, the country has been dealing with multifaceted issues of insecurity, from the north to the south, to the southwest, to the southeast. Different kind of insecurity issues that has been happening on, just on a daily basis. Let's say that in the north we have banditry, kidnappings, herdsmen, and the likes, ravaging communities. We have fighter jets which are bombing activities of criminal elements in those areas. Of recent, we heard of Abuja kidnappings, which was on the rise, and it gave much concern to many well-meaning Nigerians who, were bothered about the incident. I was in Abuja, and when I got down from the airport down to the venue I was going to, I saw that most of the areas were dark at night, and I was wondering, why should Abuja be dark at night? When the state should be visibly light up. It's the seat of power. We should see, lively activities, at least from the airport, where there will be lightning to show that the state is peaceful. Where there's light, absence of light, give room for so many criminal activities. So away from that, in the southwest here, we have fighter jets which can, monitor activities and also bomb the activities of criminal elements. But we've not heard of cluster areas where these people are, operating. It's the forest. People just move, do the activities that move to another one. So when you're in the forest, it's quite unpredictable. It's not easy. You have to just continue with the surveillance. So that's where the security agencies must be alive to their responsibilities in terms of ensuring that they consistently monitor what is happening. Before now, we also have issues of, train hijack, where, they try to derail the train and kidnap people. Then the NRC said we have helicopters which will be accompanying, the train to and fro when it's going, just for surveillance to see how to ensure safety of passengers on the train. So in terms of the Southwest here, the government must take responsibility. Like you said, the governors are chief security officers of their states. They have security votes, and it's their duty to ensure that people are safe and they are the citizens are well secured, against any criminal activities. So governors, this is a wake-up call for them now. They've seen issues happening from Lagos State to Oyo State to Ondo State to Ekiti, Ondo, and every other part, of the country. Insecurity is everywhere, but the governors must take responsibilities. One that happened on Oyo State of recent was the mining activities, which the governor has taken action about. So everywhere, we are just trying to be apprehensive about what is happening. But I feel the security agencies, both the soldiers, army, police officers, Amatekun, and all of these local hunters are also alive to responsibility to ensure that people are safe in the region.
All right. Armed forces of the Nigeria has called on Nigerians to give the same support that Nigerians were giving the Super Eagles against South Africa's match, saying that if our people should actually give the same support, they may actually address the issues of insecurity. And now talk more on the recommendation by some quarters of people of the need for community policing. Some states are making advancement and accepting these into their policy formulations, and of course infusing this into their security system. I don't feel it's high time that many states queue behind the issues of community policing, because it seems that our armed forces, our security personnel are not in any way matching to the statistics of population that we have in this country.
Yes, well, in the past few days, Nigerians across, the world have been united by the AFCON games ongoing in Cote d'Ivoire. And what it has shown us that Nigerians are patriotic. Nigerians, can live in unity and harmony, regardless of religious or tribal sentiment or ethnic sentiment. We come together to push an agenda, and we can do that formidably well. So what the armed forces have done is to call for support also, because they are also at the forefront of restoring, security, and also ensuring that the country is safe. So if they can get this maximum support from Nigerians, of course, the country will be safe. And that's why I said Nigerians must be alive to their own responsibility too, in terms of saying something and saying something, in terms of ensuring that they are your brother's keeper. Because if you are your brother's keeper, then the community will be safe. If you are not a part of our community, we should be able to identify you and smoke you out and fish you out and say, no, we know you. What are you doing here? Except maybe it's a friendly visit and all that. But when it comes to criminal activities, it happens in a state, regardless of whoever it is. A criminal is a criminal. A criminal is, if you say, is either Igbo or Hausa. No, it does not know tribe. They operate at their own levels. So it is now the duty of Nigerians, to stand up and ensure that their community is safe. And that's why the armed forces have called for, support, because they're saying that Nigerians all over, you'll be amazed that Nigerians showed immense support, for the Super Eagles in all of the ongoing games that's happening. And that's what has gotten us to the final, because the support was massive, and it's been massive so far. So for community policing, I want to believe that it's a good one. It's a good advantage for communities, so that can keep our communities safe. But many people are scared, because once you begin that again, it can be hijacked by politicians for their own activity, or for their own self activity, which is what many are scared about. But community policing is very. Take for example in Lagos now, if we have the Lagos State Neighborhood Watch, which is in different neighborhoods across the state. Their own is to ensure intelligence gathering and also feed the police and other security agencies about whatever they notice, wherever they are attached to. So that is an important an aspect of community policing that the state is also operating. Although They are not licensed to carry arms or ammunition, but they are in every part of the community in Lagos State because they are able to, give police or other security agencies information. The police cannot be everywhere, but because of the security ratio, the number of police officers attached to one Nigeria, it's not easy. It's not on a good scale at all. But what we have so far is community policing is a way to go for safety and protection of Nigerians, in different parts of the country. Because this community policing would help to ensure that people, give certain information about what is happening within their own respective domains. And it is peculiar to each state across the federation. Whatever is obtained here in the southwest might not be obtained in the north because we are not fighting the same security battle. We have different, but we just have peculiar problems, which is what we are also tackling. Whatever is happening here is different. Whatever is happening in the north too. So that is what community policing will come in. It can come in that area to ensure that people are alive to their responsibilities. They gather intelligence and also feed the police and other security agencies information about what is happening in their respective domains.
All right, just to, because my colleague and you talked about how AFCON has affected Nigerians and how it has showed that Nigerians are united. One of the leading persons in the Chibok Girls call also did make mention of the AFCON, how we can use AFCON by making the right choice. She gave an example that, for example, we brought in Stanley Nwabali as Nigeria's #1 goalkeeper, even though he had not played for Nigeria before now. And because we knew he was good, he was given the #1 shirt, and he has been amazing, rather than take Francis Ozoho, who has always kept us on the edge of our seat. And she was referring to the federal government. He said, why bring someone of the 80s rather than bring a young, vibrant person who could lead Nigeria to the right direction? Do you think she's right to an extent in giving us the fact that bringing President Bola Tinubu as president was a wrong decision by Nigerian electorates?
Well, I wouldn't agree with that situation, that position, but I believe leadership
is it because you're from the Southwest?
No, not because I'm of the Southwest. I'm just really talking about the competence and capability. Leadership comes with responsibility.
Okay, but
before now we have had Goodluck Jonathan,
which that they are competent.
Goodluck Jonathan was of a younger generation. Was a younger person.
But Nigeria was his era better than this era?
Well, this era is just 1 year into office. They've not had a long activity, but we are just monitoring about what is happening. But if you compare his own era, then it was also faced with different challenges, but they are not peculiar. They are not in the same terrain. We just have the same issues that they faced then. But if you look at the current administration now, they are also pushing to see how they can make Nigerians happy. But it's a long ride. Nigeria's problem today did not just start yesterday. It started long before now.
All right.
Each administration
will always face its own problem. That question. Take a look at the fact that he said, I could understand the comment that she said, Ahmed Musa was sitting, Ahmed Musa is the captain of the Super Eagles, and then he was cheering the boys. He didn't want to go into play, not because he didn't want to play. Like he could not use his power as a captain, to be in the field, but he was cheering other players in the field. I talk about, recruitment processes of this country. You understand that the security chiefs has a role to play in handling the issues of insecurity in the country. Are the people mandated by President Tinubu to man this office is competent enough? And sometimes you see that the security chiefs have more competent people, within themselves, to do the job. But due to some political moves, they consider so many factors, to make recommendation. Don't you feel that, the comment made by her was also in line with these issues to fix the issue of security in the country?
Yes, well, we could interpret our position in different ways. In this regard, yes, it's a good interpretation to it too. Now, Musa has not been on the pitch, but he has been influential from the stand where he is. He has been giving direction. He has been giving them, insight on what to do, and that's a good area because he's even better off, than other players because he can see all of the things happening. He can tell them, no, why don't you go to this side? This is what you need to do. Osimhen, play this way. Lookman, play this way. So that's just it. In terms of the security chiefs also, they are also doing their best, to ensure that the country is safe. But, they are also fighting a battle from their respective positions. They want to ensure the country is safe, but it's not easy. It's a long battle. The battle didn't just start yesterday. That's so Nigeria's problem is a long one, which they still have to continue to solve every day. Each day we wake up as Nigerians, we have different things we also face. If it's not a bad news you are waking up to, you will hear about this issue happening. So it's just it, and it's a long ride. But we are hopeful that all of these issues are surmountable because they can be tackled in different areas.
All right, many thanks. We'll go on a short break right now. Once we return, still with our guests joining us from the Nation's newspaper, we'll be taking a look at the ECOWAS interventions on the matter, political issues in Senegal, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Shortly after this break, don't go away. Still stay with us. All right, many thanks for still stay with us on the decks on global televisions where we are extracting some national and international issues. And right now we'll be taking a look at the fact that the Economic Community of West African States and the foreign ministers held a special meeting regarding the withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger from the regional bloc. They also take a look at the political tensions in Senegal due to the postponement of the election. And of course, we're still having a guest join us from the Nation's newspaper to talk about the effects of the withdrawal of some of these countries from ECOWAS. And now that we're having another country, Senegal, threatening issues because it might start this way and end with a withdrawal or sanction by the ECOWAS, as the case may be. So tell us about issues in Senegal. I recall that the current administration is ended in April, and the president has actually postponed the date for the election. So many people went into the street to protest in reacting to that. They probably do not want that political move, and this is causing a political heat and tension in Senegal. And do you feel that ECOWAS still have the capacity to intervene in issues like this, mindful to the fact that their last interventions have not yielded a good result?
Yes, what has happened in Senegal is quite a serious situation, and of course, masses will definitely react because they want to show that they are in charge of what is happening in the country. And as a political situation, the House or the Parliament there, in collaboration with the President, have extended, the stay in office to ensure that political tension is tamped down, for this period. And like you've asked, what role is ECOWAS playing, in trying to resolve the situation? Of course, ECOWAS has that power, it's just to mediate in issues like this, regardless of whatever has happened in the past few months with respect to the exit of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria, from the body. It does not undermine its influence and power. It's just also going to mediate. And one of these things is also an ongoing discussion. Those who have exited are also will definitely discuss, with the body to ensure what are the chances. And why they exited is because they also felt the sanctions in their own respective countries, and they want to see what are the bargaining, grounds they can also come in, with respect to also being in the ECOWAS bloc. Because you cannot be under the military junta and still want to get benefits of those countries which are under democratic dispensation. And so that is why the sanction was indirectly meted against them, and they had to exit ECOWAS. And they've had meetings. ECOWAS is also seeing how to come in because there are security implications for this situation if the ECOWAS does not take charge of the situation. And that's why they are trying to see what can be done in terms of the mediation and also bringing this people back to the fold. And I think it's the right step. And whatever situation might be, ECOWAS also just need to advise Senegal also, to see how they can restore democratic activities in that country, because it's a democratic country where things are going on smoothly, but because of too many vested interests, the election didn't go on as planned properly. So in the ECOWAS bloc, it still has the power. It does not diminish the power, but people just want to make up issues out of all of these things. So ECOWAS is showing its own power too, in its own way. It's been mediating. The Nigeria's foreign ministers and other foreign ministers are also meeting, or they've met to discuss issues. And I'm sure it's an ongoing discussion, which will be continuous, because those in Burkina Faso, those in Mali, those in Nigeria also have their own positions too. So it's how to balance all of these interests together to see what can be achieved in the end. The sanctions is what is affecting them, and they felt it already too. So we want to see how they can also show their power. So testing of powers.
Let's wrap the conversation up with this question. Do you think it's time for ECOWAS for a change to tell to power, truth to power, especially African leaders, that whenever they try to change the people, it means they're doing wrong, and so that probably Macky Sall would reverse his decision and not just support the president of Senegal just because he was democratically elected, but the fact that what he's doing or what he has done by truncating the process is wrong. Do you think there's a chance for ECOWAS to say the truth? And probably that would also assuage, if there was going to be any military intervention, they would see ECOWAS as being saying truth to power.
Yes, well, I would agree with your position. But what they will not want to accept is military intervention, which is counterproductive in the long run. So ECOWAS has that position, to also let Macky Sall know that what you have done is not is against the interest of the masses. The people are yearning for peaceful transition of democratic activities, and this is against their own choices, which is not going to be extending the stay in office. It's also another way of also making people raise voices. And so it's the duty of ECOWAS as a body to also speak. Mindful, ECOWAS does not have the power. They don't have the full power. So Macky Sall can claim that he's the president of the country, so he has that power to also take decision. ECOWAS can also inform him, can also tell him. They can also call the voice of reasoning for him to understand this is how things should be done. And rationally, as human beings, I believe we should also do things the right way. It is just rational and simple for all of us to think of it. But because of whatever interest we also have in our mind, we always want to do things in our own selfish way or in our own way. So that's just the way I see it. ECOWAS still have that position there, and they can also put forward that position to Senegal president.
All right, so we do wish that the steps by ECOWAS will stabilize the political tensions in Senegal and other ECOWAS countries forming the bloc. And that is a motto we take in from Abiodun, the journalist from the Nation newspaper, on the decks today. And of course, we wish to have him more and more for us to have more robust discussions on the state of the nations and, of course, the affairs of international and foreign issues. Many thanks, Anthony, for still having your voice on the show today. We'll now take a break, and of course, I will bring you more programs on Global Television. Keep staying and watching Global TV.